format made for on demand.
What we're doing here is we're setting up some equipment in the hall mirrors. This is where most of the sightings of Emily have happened. We're going to be covering it with electromagnetic field detectors. We're going to also set up some infrared night vision cameras, and hopefully we can get a picture of Emily. Out of all the places I've investigated over the past 20 years, I'd have to say that the Flanders would definitely make it in my top 10. We set up our video cameras, we set up our motion sensors, and right now it's just a waiting game. We've never had an instance where we've come here and haven't had any activity, so that's definitely something that's very consistently active. We cleared the area, we sat back to monitor the video, and the motion sensor went off. Basically, it detected movement in an area where there was no movement whatsoever. And the motion sensor needs something that's giving off infrared heat to chime or to give the alarm sound and know that there's something moving. And since there's nothing over there and we were all on the opposite side of the room, there should have been no reason for that to go off. So something unseen, but yet visible to the infrared spectrum, walked in front of that motion sensor and set it off. So we're going to go out there now and we're going to try to do multiple audio recording and EVP attempts, basically is what we would call them, and try to see if we can pick up any contact with her. This area right here. So if we set up maybe like a circle, or half of you guys sitting over there, half of us sitting over here. An EVP is electronic voice phenomenon. It is a audio clip of a voice that has been embedded on a recording medium. Quite often even a microphone isn't even necessary. Emily, are you here with us tonight? We find that we'll ask questions. When we go back and replay the audio, we find answers on there that were not heard at the time of the recording.
What do you think about us being up here?
Want to say goodbye?
We're moving down to the area they call the catacombs, which is basically the basement. Upstairs, we get a lot of electronic evidence. We've got a lot of EVPs up there, a lot more things with the video. Down here, less of that, but more what we consider psychic impressions. We pick up a lot more information. Even people who don't necessarily consider themselves psychic have picked up and felt things down there that they can't explain. Over in this area is where the female speakeasy was. We had a lot of activity back here, and back in the back area there is one of the areas that we felt we made contact with Emily, and that she was actually standing right behind one of our investigators.
My processes in terms of investigations tends to rely more on the psychic impressions and things like that. I take pictures and stuff like that. I never get EVPs. I rarely get positive photos. I get more of like the feelings. It's like a psychic feeling. I feel like I have trouble breathing. I feel like my throat is closed up a little bit. I feel like the air is really thick. I psychically hear these messages that Emily is coming through with. And then I'll see blips or images, like in my mind's eye, of different things that are kind of taking place. So mine is leans more so on the psychic side of things as opposed to maybe the scientific side of things.
The very first investigation, because it was just right about here, where it was probably four of us sitting. It was while the one investigator was she was actually sitting with her back facing here. We were all sitting like Indian style, and she was picking up on Emily very strongly. I was sitting across from her, facing her, and we were getting the EMF readings that were just off the charts, just around her. And I felt like someone had their hand on my shoulders and just kept pulling me backwards. And the more I would try to lean forward, the harder they would pull back. So almost where I almost tipped. And then as soon as Emily stopped communicating with the one girl, the EMF reading stopped, the pulling sensation stopped, everything just completely stopped down here.
The last time our group was here, though, people were actually getting nauseous from the swirl of energy.
The way I described it is it felt like being in like a whirlpool or a wave pool, and you could physically feel it. If you actually stood and watched somebody, you could see them start to almost sway back and forth. And there's people that never feel anything at all would stand in these certain areas, they would feel it as well. We think that was also the spirits maybe trying in a way to get us to associate the drowning that we felt down here with maybe the person being churned up in the waves.
I've been experiencing more of what we're calling the daughter, and I was picking up the name Elizabeth, and she's a really strong spirit, and like Jamie was saying, tonight I'm experiencing who people are calling Emily, which I didn't last time, and it's very sad energy for me.
Down here in the catacombs, I sort of feel pretty much like the mother is reaching out to us. She feels guilt. She feels like she cannot really come up really to her daughter, because I feel that at the time when her daughter drowned, that she wasn't watching her, or she felt that she wasn't watching her properly, that it was her fault that her daughter passed away. And I think that's part of the problem, that she feels really guilt-ridden.
Last time we had here was someone was exiting here, and he had a few investigators in front of him, and he heard footsteps behind him. He kind of was like pushing his way to get ahead of the group there to go out the door. It's fairly common, but I guess it's a bit unnerving when you hear footsteps running up behind you and you know you're the last one out of the room.